The arena buzzes with a low, steady electricity, the kind that tells you something important is happening even before the cameras roll. Claressa Shields moves through the VIP section with the confidence of a champion, her posture sharp, her focus locked in. She isn't here to play celebrity, she's here as a respected figure in a room full of giants. Jay Prince stands nearby, radiating that quiet authority he's known for, speaking in low tones that only serious men understand. Zab Judah laughs lightly at something one of the trainers says, though his eyes keep scanning the ring with the instinct of a fighter who has seen everything. Young star Abdullah Mason listens intently to every word he hears around him, absorbing the atmosphere like a student at the feet of legends. Conversations here are not jokes, they are about contracts, matchups, strategies, and the politics of the sport. The air feels heavy with purpose. Claressa is deep in a discussion about upcoming bouts and preparation routines, her voice calm, mature, and locked into the moment. This is a space of respect, discipline, and professional gravity, and everyone in it knows the unwritten rule: you don't disrupt this energy unless you're ready for whatever comes next. By the time the story circulates online, the message is unmistakable, and it echoes far beyond the moment itself. O'Shea Duke Jackson closes his breakdown with a tone that feels less like commentary and more like a warning carved from experience. He reminds his audience that the world is not a comedy stage, and not everyone is living for likes or laughs, especially not people who have fought their way through real battles, real losses, and real life. Claressa Shields is a world champion. Papoose is a man who has spent decades navigating the realities of the streets and the industry. The men in that room are seasoned fighters, businessmen, fathers, mentors, not props for online clout. And still, someone tried to turn them into content. O'Shea stresses that what happened to Gerald Houston is exactly what happens when people forget the simplest rule of adult life: respect the space and energy of others. He drives home the old but timeless saying, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Not because violence is good, but because consequences are real. He urges younger viewers to think twice before provoking strangers, reminding them that the quietest, calmest people are often the most capable of defending themselves, or the ones they love. As his commentary fades out, the lesson left behind isn't about celebrity drama or internet jokes. It's about awareness, maturity, and understanding that every person you cross paths with is carrying their own battles. And if you push the wrong one on the wrong day, the result may be a lot more real than a viral clip. When the dust settles, the story doesn't stay confined to the arena, it travels fast, landing in the hands of O'Shea Duke Jackson, who breaks it down with the blunt honesty he's known for. In his commentary, he doesn't sugarcoat it. This isn't just about Claressa Shields or Papoose, it's about a growing culture of people chasing attention by provoking the wrong individuals. O'Shea leans into the camera and points out how today's social media personalities think everything is content, even when there's no camera rolling. He explains how Gerald Houston walked into a serious environment, ignored clear boundaries, disrespected a decorated athlete, and then acted surprised when reality delivered a consequence. O'Shea reminds his viewers that the US isn't a playground, people are stressed, people are tired, and not everyone has the patience to deal with trolling, especially grown men who are older, wiser, and far more experienced in real-life conflict than the internet generation realizes. He brings up examples of small, quiet, unassuming guys who have military training, street knowledge, or decades of discipline, men who can end a situation in seconds if pushed. O'Shea's tone is equal parts warning and disappointment, emphasizing that too many young people underestimate the power, maturity, and seriousness of the older generation. He drives home the point that trolling strangers isn't just rude, it's dangerous. And in this case, Houston learned the hard way that in the presence of real men and real warriors, disrespect will always have a price. Papoose doesn't brag, doesn't gloat, doesn't even look proud, he simply turns back to Claressa, making sure she's okay, as if the entire moment was nothing more than removing a fly that refused to stop landing on someone he cares about. And just like that, the room exhales, understanding that a line was crossed, a lesson was taught, and the energy has returned to exactly what it was before: respect. The moment Houston steps into Papoose's space, the air in the VIP section tightens like a pulled drawstring. It happens so fast yet feels strangely slow, that split second when everyone realizes things have shifted from annoyance to confrontation. Papoose doesn't posture, doesn't make a show of it, he just adjusts his stance ever so slightly, shoulders squared, chin level, eyes locked. Houston keeps talking, his words slurring together in that reckless, nervous bravado people get when they don't know they've pushed too far. Claressa moves back half a step, not out of fear, but because she knows Papoose well enough to recognize the point where respect is no longer negotiable. The fighters and OGs nearby fall silent, their instincts kicking in. This is no longer trolling, no longer comedy, it's a man playing with fire while holding gasoline. Then it happens. No dramatic wind-up, no shouting, no chaos. Just a swift, clean, controlled check, the kind delivered by a man who has spent years mastering exactly when and how to enforce a boundary. A movement faster than Houston can brace for. A sound sharp enough that the people closest feel it more than hear it. Houston's body jolts, his face snaps to the side, and suddenly his nose begins to leak, red and immediate. For a heartbeat, he stands stunned, blinking rapidly as if trying to compute the reality that actions have consequences, real ones. The room remains eerily calm, nobody rushing, nobody cheering, just that collective understanding among adults who know the difference between self-defense and senselessness. Houston stumbles back, clutching his face, realizing the joke he kept forcing has finally delivered its punchline. Later, he will go online with a swollen, crooked nose, claiming he got hit while playing games, but everyone who witnessed it knows the truth. He didn't get hit while playing games, he got hit because he thought life was won. That's when Papoose, who had been watching the situation with growing irritation, finally steps forward. He doesn't raise his voice, doesn't puff out his chest, doesn't make a scene, he simply positions himself between Claressa and Houston with the calm, deliberate confidence of a man who has nothing to prove. His eyes lock onto Houston with a steady, unblinking stare that says more than words ever could. In a low, controlled voice, he tells him, "Yo, chill. That's enough." It isn't a threat, it's a warning wrapped in respect, the kind of message real men deliver without theatrics. But Houston, instead of backing down, shifts his posture and steps toward Papoose as if he suddenly wants to test the wrong person. The room reacts instantly, J. Prince tilts his head, Zab Judah stops mid-sentence, and Abdullah Mason's eyebrows lift in disbelief. Every fighter in the area knows that stepping toward a man like Papoose is not confidence, it's stupidity. Claressa watches the moment unfold with that blend of frustration and disbelief, knowing this whole mess could have ended 20 seconds ago if Houston had simply listened. Papoose doesn't flinch, doesn't move back, doesn't even raise his hands, he just stands his ground, his face tightening slightly, his body language signaling that the line has officially been crossed. In that split second, the atmosphere shifts from irritation to danger. Houston doesn't seem to realize it, but everyone else does. He's no longer interrupting a champion, he's provoking a protector. And in a room built on respect, that's the last mistake anyone wants to make. Everyone can feel it now, Houston isn't just being annoying. He's violating the vibe, the decorum, and the personal boundaries of a woman who has earned more respect than he could ever joke his way into. The air grows heavier, the tension thicker, and it becomes painfully clear, this isn't about comedy anymore, this is about disrespect, and Claressa is moments away from being done with it entirely. Claressa tries to keep her composure, giving him a tight, controlled smile as she says for the second time, "I'm not Serena." Her tone is firm but still respectful, the kind of voice you use when you're trying to give someone a chance to stop embarrassing themselves. But Houston doesn't take the hint. Instead, he leans in closer and raises his voice even more, practically shouting, "Serena. Come on, you are Serena," as if forcing the joke will suddenly make it funny. The entire circle of professionals, J. Prince, Zab Judah, Abdullah Mason, slowly turns toward the disruption, their expressions shifting from curiosity to irritation. Claressa's conversation is completely derailed as Houston wedges himself between people, waving his hands, talking over her, and laughing to himself like he's waiting for applause that isn't coming. Claressa corrects him again, this time sharper, her patience thinning, I said I'm not Serena. Stop. But he ignores the boundary completely, doubling down with louder repetitions, almost chanting it now, like he's trying to bait a reaction. The energy around them drops into a kind of uncomfortable freeze, the kind where everyone senses the line being crossed but waits to see who will address it. Claressa's jaw tightens, she folds her arms, her body language screaming that she's done entertaining whatever he thinks he's doing. The joke has died, but Houston keeps performing as if he's on stage, turning what started as a stupid moment into something that looks and feels like harassment. Every time Claressa tries to return to her conversation, he jumps back in, talking over her, blocking her space, pushing the same disrespectful line like it's the only trick he knows. What makes it worse is the tone, not playful, not friendly, but intrusive and mocking, the type that strips away dignity by pretending it's all just jokes. And in a room full of people who take respect seriously, that kind of behavior doesn't go unnoticed. Just as the conversations settle into that steady rhythm of strategy and respect, the atmosphere shifts, not drastically at first, but enough that Claressa's attention flickers for a second. Gerald Houston drifts into the VIP area like someone who doesn't quite belong but assumes he does. He has no camera crew, no mic clipped to his shirt, no phone held up like he's recording content, just empty hands and an expression that already feels too loud for the room. Without waiting for a pause in the discussion, he steps close to Claressa and blurts out, "Serena. Serena Williams, right?" His voice cuts through the calm like a scratch across vinyl. Claressa turns, confused for half a second, then irritated, because it's clear this isn't a genuine mistake, it's a performance. She politely corrects him, thinking that will be the end of it, but he leans in again, repeating the name louder, trying to force the moment into something funny for an invisible audience. The fighters nearby glance over, sensing the disrespect immediately. The mood that once felt focused and professional tightens into something cold, awkward, and tense. This isn't teasing, it's provocation. And everyone can feel that Claressa's patience is thinning fast.